When the bombs were found in New York and in New Jersey, Mayor de Blasio, a hardcore left-wing Democrat, could not bring himself to say that this was terrorism. Forget Islamic terrorism. Forget that, right? A bomb goes off in a dumpster. 29 people are wounded. Another device, a pressure cooker, is found in New York. In New Jersey, a lot of people could have been badly hurt if that bomb had not been discovered on the run, on the 5-mile run. So what does de Blasio say? We don't know if this is terrorism. Again, it's laughable. Hillary says we can't make a judgment until we know all the facts. Why? Why? Because of the political impact, because of the election. People, we've got to understand they are weaving a story. They're weaving a narrative. It's so cunning. It's so deceitful. For de Blasio to not even have the integrity to say this is a terrorist attack or an attempted terrorist attack is all political. He knows that if he says it's a terrorist attack, that it's going to help Donald Trump. Again, never mind saying an Islamic terrorist attack, just a terrorist attack. Because Trump is saying that our borders are not safe, our people are not safe, we're letting in the wrong type of people into the country. And I, as President Donald Trump, is saying, I'm going to change that. Hillary, on the other hand, wants to quintuple, bring in 5 times as many Syrian Muslim refugees as Obama did. Okay? And a very large portion, I think I read one news story that said almost half of the Syrian refugees that are being led into this country right now are relocating to New York City and the greater New York area. So there's people that are instinctively nervous, worried. Trump is saying, no, we're not going to let them in anymore until we can properly vet them. Hillary's saying, let's quintuple the number that are coming in. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that the vast majority of terrorism in the world today is coming from Muslims, and that we are letting in Muslims, some of whom are terrorists. We don't know if it's 1%, 3%, 7%. We don't know. And we don't know how many of them, when they come here, are not considering acts of terror, but then they get close to some of their fellow Muslims, they study the Hadith, they study the biographies on Muhammad's life, and then they become terrorists. So de Blasio cannot or will not say that this is an act of terror. Now, he looks like an idiot. He does. He looks like a fool. But there's enough people running interference in the national press so that he can afford to look like a fool to a thinking person because, and I don't mean to be unkind, but there are a lot of people in the electorate right now that can't think straight. I had a discussion the other day with someone who was a Hillary supporter, maniacally against Trump. And so I didn't try and convince them otherwise, didn't try and persuade them. In fact, I've done this to 2 people in the last week, but just asking them questions. What about Trump don't you like? What policies of his don't you like? And what came out in both conversations with the people was it was not Trump's policies that they were against. It's that they think he's a bigot. He's a bigot. He's a racist. He's a homophobe. They just start spouting off these names, which shows me where they're getting their news from, and it shows me where they're not getting their news from. If they cannot identify the policies of Trump and say, this policy I'm against, then you know that it's personal. It's not intellectual. It's not something thought through. It's somebody watching MSNBC and seeing a clip of Hillary say that the basket of deplorables is who's supporting Donald Trump and the irredeemable. And then the person going, yep, that's right. They're not thinking. They're not thinking. I've got to take a break. When we come back, I am going to play for you a opening clip, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, of What Would Muhammad Do, the serial documentary that we have been working on for nearly 2 years now. You're not going to want to miss it.